Good morning and Assalamu alaikum, class 7. I hope you all are doing well. Welcome to my video lesson. Today we are going to study what? As you know very well, it's Anila sir standing in the front of you. It means that we are going to study what? Obviously your favorite subject, maybe computer studies. So I am going to I am going to teach you computer studies. And before this video lessons, we have done, I think, 2 video classes in which we have learned what? Chapter 2 exercise, obviously. Before summer vacations, we were doing chapter 2. The whole chapter was done except the exercise. As you know that wrap up is very important. So exercise is basically the wrap up of the whole chapter. So in the previous 2 lessons, Zoom lessons. We have done the exercise of chapter number 2, which is very important, which was about the binary and hexadecimal, decimal, octal number system. That was interesting chapter. Okay, so today, as chapter number 2 is done, the wrap up is done. It's mean that today we are going to start our next chapter, which is chapter number 3, system software. I am making this video on my computer system right now. So we are going to study system softwares, that how many softwares a system is using to show us whatever we are watching on the screen. Okay. So there are a lot of softwares that we know, applications we know very well. Like WhatsApp is an application which is very common around all of us. Instagram, Snapchat, and Facebook, etc. But today we are not talking about the simple application or simple softwares. We are going to talk about the system softwares. First of all, we are going to talk about basically what is system software, why we are going to read it, why we are going to read the full chapter, which is on system software. Obviously, this is the full chapter. So, system software. So, our first question of chapter number 3 is define system software. So, basically, whatever we are watching on the screen, when we are turning on the computer, as soon as we have turned on the computer till we are turning the computer off, whatever we are watching on the computer screen or laptop screen is running with the help of the system software. System softwares are the main major softwares that are helping the computer or that are interacting the machine with the users. Interaction between the machine and the users is because of the system software. Because system software is helping us to understand computer, and system software is helping computer to understand us, because we are not able to understand computer language itself, and computer is not able to understand human language itself. There are compilers or interpreters or different softwares that are helping, or we can, in simple words, we can say that system softwares are helping the computer and helping ourselves to understand each other. Okay, so we are going to write a short definition of the system software right now. So whatever I'm writing on the board, you are supposed to write it on your neat notebooks, and there will be some questions that I will be written at the end of the lesson that you are also supposed to write in your neat notebooks. Okay, this will be your classwork, that will be your homework. Okay, this is how we are doing each other in the classroom as well. So, system software basically is a set of programs that enables a computer to perform routine tasks such as starting up, managing files, and shutting down. So whatever is happening during from the startup till the shutting down is that everything is in the system software. So the setup program. So it's a set of program that enables a computer to do the tasks, such as starting up, managing files, till shutting down. So this is the definition of system. This is the definition of system software. So it's a set of programs that enables the computer to do routine tasks such as starting up, managing files, till shutting down. As the food is very compulsory and water is very compulsory for us to do our routine tasks. Sleep is also very compulsory to do our routine tasks. This is how for the computer, system software is very important or compulsory or mandatory to do the routine tasks. Okay, so there are many system softwares such as operating system that you guys have studied already in the class 6. So little bit we are going to discuss it right now in the system software, but not in the detail. I will use the name of operating system again and again and again and again. So, and operating system, which is already done, we will use the operating system name in our next topic as well, and our main topic as well. So for today's topic is in the chapter number 3 is topic 3.1, means the first topic of chapter number 3, which is BIOS. Topic 3.1 is BIOS. What is BIOS? And why I have written all the alphabets capital? Because there is a word with B, there is a word with I, with O, with S as well. So it's basic, B for basic input output system. Basic input output system is known as BIOS. So the full form is basic input output system, BIOS. So what is BIOS basically? BIOS, for example, what can I say? How could I start this? BIOS basically is the very first program whenever you will switch on your this button you can't see. Whenever I or anybody press the switching on button, BIOS is the very first software that going to be start. Like your human body. Like whenever somebody is trying to waking you up, what is working before your hands or before your legs, before your respiratory system, sorry, before your other systems. Obviously, breathing to chal hi raha hota hai na, breathing can't be stopped. Your brain is working. So majorly your brain and breathing, both are the mandatory things to show us that we are awake. Okay. So whenever we are talking about the computer, so BIOS is the very first program that load whenever somebody is pressing the computer switching on button. Okay. So basic input output system is a program that starts working when the computer is switched on, and it is located in the CPU, obviously, inside the CPU's motherboard. I will show you the picture as well. Here you can see I have your book in the front of me. This is okay. I will attach a picture of BIOS in this lesson as well at the end. There will be a separate picture of the BIOS. I will send you this video lesson. Okay. So BIOS is the very first program software that wakes up whenever somebody is switching on the computer or laptop or whatever. So first of all, what you guys are going to do, you are supposed to write the definition of the BIOS. So you are supposed to write a definition of the BIOS, which is the very first program that wakes up, that start working, that loads itself whenever somebody is switching on the computer. This is the definition of it. And this also you have to write, it locates inside the motherboard. Okay, and these all things are on the page number 29. Okay, so you guys can check from the book as well. So what we are studying today, everything is written on the page number 29, but there are some extra things, extra definitions, extra words that I have written on the board as well for your help to make the lesson easy. Okay, so on the page number, and one more thing, whenever we are, as I said, let me use some easy words for it. So I told you that BIOS is the first program that going to be loaded whenever somebody is switching on the computer. So what is happening in the BIOS? There are two major tasks of the BIOS. There are two major tasks of BIOS. Whenever you will write the word BIOS, you have to write all the alphabets capital. Okay. So there are two major tasks for BIOS. First one is the checkup of all the devices like hardware and hard drive, that these are working or not. So the first is check up that everything is working or not. Okay. So I am writing here. Check the hardware, hard drive, or the other systems are working or not. The first task of the BIOS. That whenever we are waking up, we will check that our hands are working. Obviously, when we are getting up from the bed, how many systems of ourselves, our body are working? Our hands, our feet, our legs, mainly. Obviously, are the backbone, etc., etc. So these all the system will be checked by the brain that everything is moving or not, because this is a sensory organ, so everything is going to be checked by the brain. This is how the system software BIOS, the first task to check is that these are working or not. And the second main task is And the second main task is to load operating system from memory. Because whatever we are watching on the screen, that is happening in the OS, operating system. Like Android is an operating system. iOS that is using in the Apple mobiles is the operating system. Linux is the operating system. So these are the operating systems. Okay. So who is waking up the operating system is BIOS. So before operating system, the backend, all the task is going to be done by the BIOS. The checking is done by the BIOS, and this BIOS is going to be going to load the operating system as well. To this BIOS is to load the operating system as well. Okay, so BIOS is going to load the operating system. So what we are going to learn next, there are two things. There are two things the BIOS is using. Like for example, there are some instructions that the programmers already have made for the BIOS, and there are the sequence of instruction. So the BIOS is using, there are two things under the BIOS. The first thing is boot sequence, and the second thing is boot loader. So this is the third part of our lesson. The first part was system software. The second part was BIOS definition. Fourth one, sorry. The third part is the major task of the BIOS. And now we are going to do the parts of BIOS. And how many parts the BIOS is have? There are two parts of BIOS. The first is boot sequence. Second is boot loader. Okay, so boot sequence and bootloader. What is the meaning of boot? Booting up or boot. Boot mean to start, to boost up or boot up. Boost up is an English word that we use to boost your energy. And boot up mean booting up in the computer. We can use the boot up button to wake up the computer. Okay. So here on your book, there is a word of booting up as well. The process of starting up a computer in this way is called the booting up. So before that, we can write the booting up as well. The process to start a computer is known as booting up. Okay, in this booting up, obviously this booting is also happening in the BIOS. In this booting, we are going to learn about two things. One is boot sequence, and the second one is boot loader. So boot, what do you think? What will be the boot sequence? मतलब क्या समझ में आता? What do you think? What is the meaning of sequence? Like one will come after, two will come before, after one, three will come after two. So this is a sequence. Like in table of two, then four, then six, two, two, two. Every time we will add two in one word, then we will have the next digit. So this is also a sequence. So what is the meaning of sequence? Sequence means steps. All the steps that are going to be used to boot up the computer or to boot up the system software, operating software, is written in the boot sequence. So what is in the exact word written on your book? So a boot sequence includes the first few operations needed to boot the computer. Means the first operations. We can say that it is the order of steps a computer follows when you turn it on to start operating system. You guys can write a definition. I'm going to write a definition, the easy definition for you that you guys can learn. So I have told you already. So these are the steps. These are the steps that the computer is going to use, or that the BIOS is going to be used to awake the operating system, because this is the BIOS task to load the operating system. Okay, so first task is BIOS. In the system software, the first one is BIOS, and BIOS is going to load the operating system. And to load operating system, all the steps are written in the boot sequence. And this is a part of booting up. Okay, to boot up the computer system software use the boot sequence, mean steps, and then bootloader. So what bootloader will do? Bootloader obviously will load all the steps sequentially so that operating system can load from the memory. Whenever there will be operating system in the front of us, BIOS working is done till then. And then all the hardware and hard disk, all the tasks, whatever are happening in the back end, everything is happening because everything is happening in the system software. Okay, so the first software is BIOS, and BIOS task is to load. There are two tasks of BIOS: to check all the devices that all are okay or not. If not, then it will give us a dialog box that hardware is not working, the RAM is expired, and change it, or this one, a dialog box will appear on the screen. And the second main task is to load the operating system so that we can use the computer at least. Okay. So to load the operating system, to boot the computer system, there are two parts of BIOS which are working on this procedure. One is boot sequence, in which all the steps. आपको पता है, whenever we are going to use a computer, whenever we are going to use an application, उसके पीछे backend में there is a programming. Programs are running at the back end of every computer, back end of every application. Same here, this is the program. These are the steps in the sequence written in the boot sequence. And then bootloader is going to be used those steps to load the computer. To load the operating system. So here our topic is completed. BIOS topic is completed here. So what we have learned today, your task is to write these all. In your need notebook, you have to write the boot sequence, the definition I have told you, the sequence, the steps which are going to be used to start the operating system are written in the boot sequence. And bootloader is going to use all the steps of the boot sequence to load the operating system. Means bootloader is going to be load the operating system. Okay. So these were the two tasks of the BIOS. BIOS is basic input-output system. Okay. So this is a full form of it. Is a program that starts working when the computer is switched on. This is the first program that starts working when the computer is switched on from the user, with the help of the user. So it can locate inside the motherboard, means inside the CPU. Inside the CPU, there are the green chips. Motherboard, inside the motherboard, there is the location of the BIOS as well. So major tasks, there are two more major tasks. One is check the hardware or hard drive is working or not. Second, the major task is to load the operating system from the memory. For this, to load the operating system from the memory, there is a word of booting up. Booting up means the process to start a computer is booting up. Okay. In this booting up, there are two things is used. Computer is using two names for the booting up. One is boot sequence, one is bootloader. In the boot sequence, all the sequence, there are steps written in the sequence. And these steps are going to be used for bootloader is going to use those steps to load the operating system. To load the operating system. So this was the main task of the BIOS. So if you guys are, this was the wrap up. If you guys are having any question regarding the BIOS, the very easy from the book page number 29 and 30, you guys can take help. From page number 29 and 30, you guys can take help from the book as well. This is written in the book. but I have some major things on the book which are important from this topic. There are a lot of things written on the book, but not all, everything to write everything or to learn everything is mandatory. You have to learn these headings. You have to learn the material which I have told you right now. Listen to the lesson carefully and then write it in your notebook. Okay? And Allah bless you. Have a good day. Allah Hafiz. Thank you for your time and please do your work. Okay? Allah Hafiz.